left side of Dynasty. We are looking at the main base of the man who is representing Vitality. It's the one and only Korean Terra player, Dallas. Make some noise for Maru.
It's a great shot. The awesome Nova cosplayer there, helping the crowd get hyped. Not sure they need help, though. It was packed for the Clem herO series. People knew that that would be a banger. And even though it was 3-0, I would say that it was very, very exciting. I believe everyone here in the stadium, in the Twitch chat, whatever you are, you're going to be cheering for identical games, but 3-2 along some way. But action-packed, back and forth, and a real test for both of them.
More of that Ghost River. Obviously, Golden Arrow was very fun, but Ghost River was ridiculous. And at one point, I was like, bro, those players are not supposed to win these kinds of games anymore. But that is where herO is herO. He's just so damn good in finding clever ways of winning these games. We can talk a little bit about our opening map most of the time. We start off on one of these maps that we always play on Zombie Grove. We can ignore it. We just keep an eye on the openings. But Dynasty, it's very funny because European Terrans hate Dynasty against Protoss. A lot of them even say that it's pretty much unwinnable if the Protoss plays it right. Meanwhile, the Korean Terrans don't really seem to hate it all that much.
Yeah, that's certainly what I've been hearing is some difficulty here, but I guess Maru doesn't really seem to mind it. I was trying to get the actual identical map order between the two. Last time they started off on Golden Aura Dynasty. This is a map 4 in their best of 9 series. Now, that's a little more complicated when it comes to the vetoes as well. They do not have a veto in a best of 9, obviously, when they have 2 for a best of 5. So that does change things a little bit. We got Maru sending an SCV out to a very suspicious location, and he is still on one base. herO should be wary of tricks like this, but then finding where this is, it's hard on a big map like Dynasty.
I don't even think herO has scouted at all, and that's definitely something that herO does quite often. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at that, and you guys can see herO has not even left the bottom of his ramp yet. He's got no idea. He's probably just thinking, I'm gonna take the gold. He's taking the gold on the inside, by the way. Pocket expand. That is awesome if you can truly get it up and running and you actually have enough to deal with it. Follow-up is going to be the Stargate. Yeah, there is a chance that these Hellions, actually Cyclones, by the way, from Maru.
Whoa.
That is very surprising to me. Maybe Maru just wants to one base all in, and maybe Marines rallying Cyclones to the other side of the map, and then that Star Pit is going to be used for like a Liberator or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Maru's cooking something, and herO has no idea what it is. And this Reaper not going to be allowed in, but I'm more scared of what Maru's doing to herO. I think Maru knows too. There's no way you're beating me to the punch. You have expanded. I'm going to be attacking you on one base while you try and Macaron up, you fool.
And this is incredibly unfortunate for herO because he's playing Oracles, and Oracles are just not that good against Cyclones. And the follow-up is going to be Hellions, so Maru could still go for a medevac later on. But first, he's going to try to put some pressure on this gold. herO does have a shield battery. One Stalker, if we get the Adept, by the way, is not that useful. It's going to be useful against Hellions, but it won't be that useful against the Oracle. This is a very chaotic opening, because I can see this going really well for herO somehow, if he just barely makes sure that he has an overcharge when he needs it, when he gets a couple Phoenixes out to help against the Cyclones, and maybe his Oracle finds damage. But there are also many worlds where this goes incredibly good for Maru, and then herO just can't get any value out of his quick expand.
Where's it gonna go? Oracle sees that expansion only just now building, obviously been under pressure from the Cyclones. Cannot mine from that base, does not have a shield battery. The Oracle is getting quite a few SCV kills. You think that's not a lot of energy, and it feels like it's forever, but Maru is getting some damage done as well. The Liberator now sieging up this base, needs to be taken care of, but when Cyclones are underneath it, how do you take care of it?
The working count is insane though, 33 against 17, even if a lot of these probes are not mining right now. If herO can just ever stabilize here, if we can clean this army up one time and one time only, then this game is pretty much a wrap, because there's a very, very unlikely scenario that Maru can crawl his way back into this. But as long as Maru's got Cyclones on the other side of the map, herO's gonna go for it right now. Does not want to see that bunker finish up. Phoenix is leading the charge. Can he get the Liberator? Not quite. But what he does do is push his army back. I'm not sure if that was totally necessary on herO's side, but as long as he's got the battery here, he's got a couple of Stalkers, he can warp in a few more units. herO just needs to win, and with 2 or 3 exposed units, he should be able to win the fight here.
It's just so obnoxious with those gold minerals blocking out his ground army. Then he has to depend on the Phoenix only as the Cyclones pull back, and Maru, no doubt knowing that this would be a thorn in his side, even if he had a preferred build against it. Now his command center is done back in that natural.
There's a second overcharge available. That shouldn't really take a whole lot longer. herO's gonna lead the charge. Loses one of his Stalkers, but hey, trading out a Stalker for a Cyclone, it's okay. Because obviously we're fighting on herO's side of the map, as the Oracle is going to try to find damage one more time on the other side of the map.
He also lost the Phoenix. So that's it's not pretty. It's definitely a difficult scenario. Any Protoss player would find this difficult and just straight up obnoxious. Dynasty does have this peculiarity, this really weird zone that hero's getting stuck up on. Maru's natural command center being done means that he is catching up on the economy, and hero actually decides that he's going to go harass. But that means that his base is going to die. I mean, he's just actually giving up his natural.
Yeah, but this Nexus is going to fall. There is simply no way to really save it anymore with this many Cyclones locking on that Nexus over and over again. But Maru's also still taking some economic damage on the other side of the map. Storm is turning a whole lot as the Oracle has activated. Pulse are being bottled last time. Maru's going to drop these mules. Phoenix is right on top of it. I don't know if hero has a sentry, by the way. Is there a world where Maru just rallies all these Cyclones into the main base of hero?
I don't know. We're not seeing what's actually moving on Druvino on the top half, but it is not a sentry. Phoenix also getting a little intercepted there. So this is exactly the type of game that we were hoping for. First of all, congratulations us, but what exactly is going to be happening from here on out as hero was sent back down to 1 Nexus? Well, Maru lost so many SCVs, but does still have double mule.
Yep, and it's going to be very difficult, I think, for these Phoenixes and Oracles to find more damage. Hero needs to be very cautious. He wants to take the fight. He's going to lift as many Cyclones as possible as 4 Stalkers show up. I love that he's trying to gun down the only Cyclones that were battling there for a split second, because he's always going to be able to kill these later. So now Maru's Starport could be in a bit of trouble. Not sure if you can really keep on going here, hero.
Oh my god, he's going to save the Liberator. Oh, the Liberator does not go down. The Viking is still available as well, and the SCVs can repair everything on the high ground. Whew.
Felt that hero should have been happy with what he got there, that final Cyclone, and maybe that's the moment to disengage, but he really wanted to get that lip. But yeah, Phoenix is above Cyclones. Probably not the right unit to chase.
Yeah, I can't believe it, though. I thought he was going to get it, too. But because he also didn't actually retarget onto the Viking, for instance, he at least could have gotten that. And unfortunately, he has missed a chance to actually get some, more damage done. I'm not sure he could have ever entered into the main base, but yeah, this has gone a bit awry here for hero as he is double expanding right now. You rarely see that from a Protoss. Twilight Council finishing up, but Maru's already 80% done on his stim, ready to get into the next phase of this matchup, which is bio play.
It's going to be so hard for hero, right? With just a couple of Link Stalkers as he drops the Force, but the Force would really do a whole lot for him. Drops another one in the end. That's going to block those 2 extra Cyclones from making it to the low ground. Few more sentries coming in. I mean, if hero can just keep the army small, it's going to be fine as he drops the Dark Shrine almost immediately the moment that Twilight Council finished off. And I kind of like that choice because hero needs to continue making this game scrappy, and that is one thing he's incredibly good at.
You know, he is good at that, yes. He is trying his darndest here to make sure that Maru doesn't feel comfortable, but as he transitions over into more of that bio, he kind of starts to feel more comfortable. You have units of quantity as well as quality with the upgrades finishing up too. So hero's not really in that same position. His unit count's not that high as of yet, and his army type isn't that great either. Those DTs will want to buy at least some time as he tries to get his 3 bases up and running, only ahead by 8 probes.
What a game. hero is going to find himself in a bit of an awkward spot. Like, this is not the crazy amount of Marines that can just stim forward with no regard for Protoss defenses, a Guardian Shield whatsoever. But I do feel that Maru is just going to have a whole lot more firepower than hero. So Maru's also dropping a 3rd orbital behind this. I mean, don't ask me how he found himself into a macro game, but it is starting to look like one. Hero's like, I feel like we've done this before. It is just really awkward to battle these Cyclones that are on the other side of those gold minerals. It does buy time, at least for Blink to come online, right? And that allows hero to dream as he wipes in his first Dark Templars. Not the Liberator, by the way, stole that Dark Shrine. Perhaps it's one of these scenarios where he saw it, but he didn't really see it, because I haven't seen any missile turrets being dropped yet.
I haven't seen that either. He could be holding on a some scan, at least 1 or 2, right? As a 3rd orbital might finish as well, but that could be a problem. There we go. Missile turret finally slapped on down. Hero has Blink, so he can tackle this a bit better. Yeah, with the overcharge as well. However, the combination of all the firepower, Liberator included, did at least get one of those Stalkers. Many of them now injured. Another one goes down. Another one goes down. And, well, that wasn't exactly the break that he was hoping for. DTs, though, are getting some damage done in the main base. Should be forcing out a 2nd scan at the very least on top. No. Okay, 1 scan, 6 SCVs.
Yep, those are painful little mistakes there by hero, because maybe Maru doesn't even have another scan available. Then you get a few more SCVs before any of these orbitals actually has energy. Apparently there was 1 more scan. But still, right now, if you're hero, you want to see makes sense. You don't want to see or you don't want to see more mules being dropped, especially if the DT was already safe. Tiny hold position would have been able to save it there. Somehow herO is enjoying a 9-work lead. Now he hasn't really been able to mine comfortably of any of his bases so far in the first 11 minutes of Dynasty. Didn't fire up charge immediately either. Blink has been done for a little while. On top of that, even if he gets Zealot with charge, he won't have any armor upgrades. It is going to be really hard. Maru's army is just scaling way better right now than hero's army, as that was a very poor blink too. A couple of these stalkers are stuck, as obviously the minerals are not mined out yet. Hero's just in a bit of too much trouble.
Yeah, he absolutely is. That was a really bad moment right there too. He was trying to control his Oracle and witnessed a missile turret, but then he noticed the stalkers were being attacked, so I wouldn't have been surprised if he lost the Oracle. That got saved, but so many stalkers died. Nexus dies for the second time in this game. herO was trying to get to that's a replacement turret. He knew it was going to die, so not going to call it a fourth. Stasis Trap not going to save the day either. herO down by 30 supply with 0 AoE on his side.
Yep, and no upgrades either. I mean, +1 did get fired up, but it's going to take a long time before that kicks in. The best Guardian Shield and Force Shields could potentially save him, or if Maru takes a really poor fight near battery overcharge. But Maru doesn't even really have to end the game here. All that Maru can do is just rotate to the bottom, cancel that Nexus as well, and a 3-base Terran is going to always have a good time against the 2-base Protoss. herO, however, feels that he needs to take this fight, but he simply does not have the right amount of units. Maru, his Marines and Marauders are standing strong, and that should do it for Game 1 on Dynasty. What a build by Maru. Cyclones into Hellions, into way more Cyclones, backed up by a Liberator with perfect positioning. Just Maru things, DG.
Yeah, I guess so, and herO's going to have to admit that as well. Tapped out of game number 1. Maru holds on to the lead he created in the early game. It definitely got dicey. It was very back and forth, and a lot of other things could have happened in that game. A multitude of universes here, guys, but as it is, Maru gets that very important first game as he continues a win streak against herO.
Does really feel that Maru expected herO to open up like this, or maybe the plan was to follow on from Maru. If you go for a regular 1 gate fast expand on the low ground of your main, well, then I'm just going to go for a Hellion drop. But if my Reaper sees that there is no Nexus there and you're going to take the gold, that's when I've got something special prepared for you. This was obviously a big moment, because herO did find a tiny bit of momentum there after lifting those Cyclones in the center of the map, but he got a little bit too carried away. I mean, that's herO in a nutshell, right? We love him for it, but sometimes he pays a hefty price. These are tiny mistakes, but maybe at that point the game was already too far gone.
Probably. Maru seemed very comfortable holding on to a lot of scans. That gold base had like 3 scans in it almost, so I think he was very aware that harassment was one of the best options for herO in the game, and the ever pesky 1 DT at a time to slow down the push, right? So he really didn't want to deal with that, and he probably figured that he didn't need the mules. He had done so much damage to herO. It was certainly an unstable Protoss environment in that game where the Terran was just able to get on track a little bit better.
As strong as Maru was in that game, I don't think that necessarily means a whole lot for the rest of the best of 5, because Dynasty is just such an odd map. That's a map where you can go for certain builds that are amazing on Dynasty specifically, but not something you can really get away with on any other map. So Maru's gonna have to bring a little more to the show. He knows that. I think herO can just shake that one off and say, that was really annoying. Kind of forgot how annoying Cyclones and Liberators can be together if I can't properly attack them. I also feel, by the way, that if he would have just respected it a little bit more, instead of relying on 1 shield battery with 1 overcharge at a time, you get a second battery on the other side of the Nexus. Then your probes can actually mine from that gold for a little while. You can just stand there with Stalker. Like, it doesn't have to be 1 battery with overcharge or nothing. Sometimes you can just go for a second battery, and if those probes are mining up the gold, I mean, you get that investment back in no time.
I think you're right, though, that he underestimated it, because certainly we kind of did as well, seeing everything unfold. It was like, I think the herO is going to eventually have enough to push this back. Cyclones famously glass cannons, and then without the Liberator, you know, they don't have much protection, I suppose, but vice versa. Everything combined together. That's the real magic in that very obnoxious area, too. You put that out in the open field, again, very, very different.
Yep, and herO knows that as well. Let's take another look at our Nova cosplayer. He's been walking around. Die-hard Stalker fans over here, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the Nova skin in the game. You have to choose the female skin and then hope that Nova pops, but...
Yeah, what are the chances?
I think it's like 1 in 100 or something, I don't know. It's a little rare, but it does happen.
Kind of funny, right? They put that kind of stuff into the game a long time ago.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about Nova, and I'm sure we'll see a couple of goals throughout this series as we have loaded into Game 2 on the side Delta here in the quarterfinals of the ESL Spring Championships. Bottom right side, he's down 0-1. Your remaining Protoss player, Dragon Kaisti Gaming, herO.
Down to the top left, now up 1-0 for Team Vitality. He is Maru.
Tiny update, by the way, from one of the other matches that's currently being played in the knockout round 3. Cure has taken the 2-1 lead over Shin. He's shaking off those TVZ demons.
Yeah, and Spirit did 3-1 Estrella, now facing Raynor. What could be a very long game, we'll see. That's all happening in the knockout bracket. Of course, this match is in the quarterfinals. You win this one, you are into the semis, and you're into the Esports World Championship. And if you lose, it is still a very good result, but you don't get that same prize. So again, herO feeling that pressure a little bit more. I suppose overall, Maru always feels a little bit of that pressure to actually perform internationally. I don't know if he actually cares about the whole story.
Yeah.
Obviously, the community has created this story for him.
I know, I feel like that's the story for us, and rightfully so, right? We've been watching him for so long, and he's always amazing over in the GSL Codes, and he's had his moments, even at WESG in China back then, but it is all that a player that's so freaking good, so consistent like Maru, has not been able to do it a whole lot overseas. Not in America, not in Europe, and of course, it make it to back-to-back IEM Katowice finals, you know, that's not too shabby.
No.
But if you're Maru, you set the bar so high for yourself that we're looking for W's, and he's not been able to get a whole lot of those.
Yeah, denied by someone else's, you know, superior tournaments, right? Just so close too. He lost out with Dark in the best-of-7 finals. He lost out to herO in that Atlanta semifinals. It's always close, but never quite there. Now we do have Maru going for another one-base build. It is maybe just a factory expand. Yeah, that SB went out to build the command center. Where herO is going to stay on the Stargate play.
herO went for the Nexus before the Cybernetic score as well, so he doesn't really seem to be too worried about the very early aggression that Maru could throw at him. Side Delta is one of the safer maps because of the ramp leading into the natural. Don't think he has probe scouted. herO really has been a pretty greedy boy throughout a lot of these games. Maru not STV scouting either. That's not too bad because that's why Terran players like to go for a Reaper. If they don't STV scout, then they also skip out on the Reaper. I'm like, alright, now you're playing kind of a crazy game because what if there is a Stargate going up next to your main and Void Rays start popping? But Maru will confirm right now that everything is normal. He's going triple command center, and if he's expecting another Phoenix opening out of herO, I think that's a really good build order choice. And herO also strikes me as the kind of Protoss that doesn't fly his first Phoenix immediately to the other side of the map. He's kind of maybe hoping that Maru goes for some sort of a medevac opening, keeps him at home for a little bit. Quick Twilight Council as well. With Phoenix, that's great body blocking, by the way, by the Stalker. Yeah. So the Reaper is stuck, but will herO actually reveal the fact that he's going Phoenix? And by revealing that, he can get a great scout, but if he wants to keep it hidden, he's actually keeping himself in the dark too.
Yeah, that's a conundrum. It really is. And he's getting a decent amount of gateways on top of that too. Phoenix is going to go across the map immediately, so as you were saying, it reveals that he had a Phoenix, but then it also finally will be able to see that it's a 3CC. And what Maru doesn't know is whether or not more Phoenix are being created, so of course that is still a shroud that Maru needs to worry about.
There's a good chance that herO just goes for a 2-base blink all in here, but you don't want to lose this Phoenix. It's so important. And it's not because the Phoenix is going to be very useful in the battles, but if he wants to go for blink stalk regression, then having that Phoenix to create some high ground vision is fantastic. He doesn't have a sentry at this point. And that's very unfortunate for herO. He did immediately drop the third Nexus and said, I didn't want to do that anyway, but now you just make life so much harder. And it's also nice, like if you're applying some pressure with Blink Stalkers, even a single Phoenix can have a big impact by lifting a tank or just lifting a Cyclone. And of course the high ground vision is very important all around. Incredibly unfortunate there for herO.
He was putting up a proxy pylon nonetheless, and that's a probe there as well. Maru, as I was saying, he's also not really in the know. There could be more Phoenix being built into the Colossus, into Charge, or it is an immediate into Blink, which is actually what it is. He's just very comfortable back on his side of the map. He's got tanks protecting him on 2 bases, 3CC, getting all the technology, double engineering bay as well. And herO is going to be missing out on some of the additional scouting that would still be useful like that. So of course, when the starport's done, where those medevacs are going. Stalkers need to be active, but still worried about anything that comes by that they've missed out on. herO is definitely going to provide the pressure. 4 more gateways on the way. Yeah,
I'm a little bit confused about how herO's going about it in this game, because yes, he's gone up to 3 bases, and he is still building probes, but he's also not getting a forge, he's not getting a robotics facility. this is the kind of stuff that I feel works if Maru is just a tiny bit impatient and takes that third base slightly before he's supposed to take it, right? And then he starts bleeding out units. The smaller the armies are, the more that is going to favor herO, because Maru is going to be forced to stim over and over again. Stalkers can blink back, Zealots can just A-move. But if Maru just waits a little while longer and his army grows a tiny bit bigger and he gets his hands on 1-1 combat shield and stim, as hero's already in the natural, says, alright, no bonk, it means I can just go ahead and go for that tank. And I should be able to get out relatively unscathed. This is good though, and it's so important for herO. Even if he ends up losing a couple Stalkers here, he needs to keep the armies tiny.
Yeah, that was really nice. I was not expecting that, but herO with the plan there. Now just getting into that main base for the actual full-on scout and distraction, but then it was really about those Stalkers getting in too. Charge is almost done, plenty of gateways. I'm with you. I'm a bit confused as to how he's getting here. It feels like his destination is kind of changing every now and again. In the journey, it's just a wild ride for everyone here. But I think what he is hoping for, of course, is that Maru pushes out, as you said, gets impatient, maybe tries to chase after the Stalkers, even by like lifting the medevac, trying to get behind them. Boom, charge out's on top of you. And then that goes well, the macro game can happen behind it.
First medevac is leaving the natural. I don't think herO saw it. Doesn't seem that Maru wants to flank with it, but hey, if the depots are lower, these Zealots storming in, and there are no Widow Mines here. A Guardian Shield is going to be excellent here for the Zealots that can make up for the lack of armor. It is right before +1 attack on the side of Maru. It's right before +1 armor. And these are the kind of traits that herO is looking for as he finds that medevac that was leaving the natural as well. Zombie grub, herO, don't ask us how, but he is everywhere where he needs to be, and then some.
Yeah, he does everything, man. More Zealots coming in from the proxy gateway. Maru without a really strong army here. The strongest thing about it is that it has those SCVs creating some artificial Sim City. Tank at the high ground, better off trying to shoot down those Stalkers, but it's shot down itself, and herO is going to go for the blood, going to go for the neck. He has got this game. He has got a tied-up series. There's nothing Maru can do.
What a moment for herO to strike. Depot's lowered. There is no bunker there. Tank already died. Right before 1-1 for Maru. I think right before combat shield perhaps as well. And of course Maru picked up those 8 Marines with the medevacs. So those were not there either. There really is no better moment for Zealots and Stalkers to fight. Especially complemented with a Guardian Shield. It's herO who's able to tie things up after a game. Bit of a confusing game on side Delta. That started off rough. And in the end, herO just does herO things. He's like, yeah, Zealots and Stalkers. Who needs the Forge? Who needs the Colossus? Who needs Storm? Like, nah, I'll find a way. And he did it again.
He was the one that was kind of doing some meandering, you know, the Phoenix and the Twilight Council into third base, but not really probing it up, and then deciding to go for the proxy gateway. That is herO. Maru, it was finally choosing the kind of standard build, right? Factory expanded in the 3cc. He was hoping that he could just wait out anything that would be even slightly aggressive while he built up a bio army. Not expecting herO to have dedicated actually quite hard, more like on 2 bases than 3, and then actually just swarming him on his side of the map. Anything else, if he gets a glimpse of the proxy gateway, if he gets a glimpse of charge lots on this side of the map, he is tightly packed into that natural, and he's going to use his own Sim City and all of the units he has against it. But that is the lack of scouting. Yep. Maru really never scouted at all.
It felt that Maru knew it was coming. He expected it because he knows he's playing as well. But then at one point, the game really is going on for a while. You're like, all right, he did open up with his Stargate. Even if he's not building any more Phoenix, and I haven't seen any Oracles dropping Revelations or Stasis Traps, at this point, there is a good chance that he's at least working on the Robo Base, getting up to Colossus. It is time for me to pick up some units and see what's happening on the other side of the map. Didn't build a bunker, like as simple as 1 bunker and 2 extra depots, and those Zealots just cannot easily break in. And that entire attack is not even an attack that herO would ever commit to. Not even herO would commit into killing a bunch of depots and then the bunker to then fight the army. Well, because Maru kind of thought, all right, we're in the next phase of the game, right? Never that easy against this man. He will find moments to win games where you really don't think it's possible anymore. And that is what makes him one of a kind. Representing DKZ, this is herO.
And to the top right, says the Blue Terran. For Vitality, he is Maru. Diehard fans of both players here. I know a lot of people out there are cheering for, I believe now, the just remaining Protoss, as Australia did lose out 2 spirits. So this is the hope. This is the herO we need. Actually feeling very similar narrative vibes to the Atlanta 2022. speaking like that, but that's what we're doing. It's back to it. You know, sometimes herO's the only non-Korean in the top 8. herO's often the only Protoss in the top 8.
Yeah, sometimes Classic, right? Classic wasn't that guy a couple of times where we had all of our hopes on him, but herO tends to deliver a little bit more. If he is the last hope of Protoss, tends to be a little more clutch. There's another game, he will go for it. The Nexus before this time, but the next score is going to give him a slightly stronger economy. It would be very annoying if Maru would have gone for a proxy barracks here with a quick Reaper. And I actually think this is an alright map to do that, right? There's a decent amount of spells for that Reaper to get into the main base, but herO doesn't seem to be too concerned about it. And he's right, once more. Maru did open up a double gas, maybe a couple of Reapers and Hellions. Feels like it's not the best map ever to go like triple Reaper, double Hellion, because you can only really get into the main base by going up this tiny ramp. Unless you somehow have SCVs on the other side of the map mining out those mineral patches, but I don't think we're going to see that zombie growth.
That would be actually so cool, though, because there is a little dark space. You can see the gateway doesn't see all the way to the end. It could be kind of cute. In fact, I did see that in PvP with Estrella. He actually brought over like 6 probes to mine it out. That's a little different. Adepts are so lethal in that matchup that's worth it. Probably not here. So we do have this first-person view. It was the Air Force aim high. And it's pretty fast. You know, we can see this, you know, more action-packed games, and then we wouldn't be able to see the action. But if they were microing like they were in that first game, this would be going like 500 APM, 800 APM.
Been a lot of fun. The Reaper is taking a little sneak peek up the ramp. You can see Maru double-checking there as well. He's like, all right, I can see what you're building. Let me go ahead and see that one more time. And it's all good. herO obviously making sure that he's going to saturate the gold mineral patches first. These are like the tiny things, but it does help. As Maru is going for the swapperoo, you can see that factory being connected to the reactor. And what are we building this time around, Maru? It will be Widow Mines. All right, could be a quad Widow Mine drop if we're having a reactor to this factory that quickly. You know, the Widow Mine drop is a bit underwhelming these days, but Protoss players also really anticipate a 2-mine, sometimes a triple mine drop. If you show up with 4 Widow Mines early on, I feel like it does still have some decent potential.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if he's going to follow up some Liberators. Him and Beyond are good friends. We saw something similar as an opener with Beyond series, but we're going to wait on that. Medevac is being built and more Widow Mines as well. Rebus will trying to get the scout into the main base. Not sure it's seen that it is Twilight Council. 3 gateways so far, by the way. Could be some safety. His herO does not know what Maru is up to. So yeah, he did get some scout there, but then it's the question of 3 gate, 4 gate, 2 gate. What is it?
hero's just chrono boosting out his blink, and he's obviously going to try to get a couple of observers out as well. I like the double pile in here to make sure you're not going to supply block yourself in the near future. Enjoying an 8 worker lead. You're going to have a few more minerals than you have on many scenarios, because obviously this expand is so close, so easy to rally units over. Maru leaves 1 Widow Mine in the center of the map, puts 3 of them. I think he's just going to try to run that into the main, or will it just burrow it? He's going to try to set up the trap, hoping that the Stalker will chase the Reaper, but herO saw that coming.
I do like that he's going to place that so offensively, though. Widow Mine drop is commenced.
Oh.
Probes are pulled into it. Such a dangerous thing to do, herO. Good lord, he did pull that probe away, to be fair, but Maru also counter-microed. Woo, okay, it's all good, guys. 2 Widow Mines still in play. Wait, herO.
It hasn't fired yet. It's too far away, I think. Oh!
Oh, jeez. No. We're good.
Nice retarget, though, by Maru for a little while there.
That was the lost mining time that was what you're really going for once they don't pop off on the big probe count, but that would have made a very easy game indeed for Maru if it did. And the medevac is still pesky. Yeah, it's still waiting. It's going to go back into the main. And I know hero's looking. He brought his stalkers back.
They just never fire anymore. Like I still get excited when I see it. Very nice retarget once again. I feel like the devastating mine hits, you just don't really see it that often anymore. Protoss players obviously way better right now in finding which probe is being targeted. There's 2 Marines are somehow on the wrong side. Third one gets on the wrong side. There is one safety tank all the way in the back, but that tank is not going to be able to keep these SCVs safe that are mining in the main. Oh, the turret could maybe get a couple shots off and buy a tiny bit of time. herO does need to be cautious, because now he's running circles in the main base of Maru, but Maru did never on-siege that initial tank. That's -3 stalkers, ZG.
Yeah, but you know, who has a tank siege in the middle of their base? I'm with herO on that one. Now, that was unfortunate, not exactly what he was looking for. Both players really getting a great scout, by the way, of both each other's bases, not with an observer or Phoenix or whatever, but just with their attacks. So Maru, I believe, did see that the plan was to go into the Colossus on 2 bases, and then Maru just saw the entire setup of his opponent. Wow, that really missed that? That was so darn close, but he saw the Robo on 2 bases, 4 gases, it's fine.
Colossus and extended thermal lens on the way. I do like it what hero's doing here, where it doesn't always have to be the crazy aggression. Just the stalkers, just the zealots, right? And trying to be reckless and making miracles happen, because that previous game, I can guarantee you some of the top Protoss players out there are watching like, this doesn't make any sense what he's doing in this game. If I do that, I run into a bunch of Widow Mines, or they they always have a full wall of depots, and they have a bunker that gets repaired. Like, you're just not supposed to win games like this. herO is good at that, but it's also cool to see him just play slightly more normal PvT every now and then. Cranking out a few Colossus, we're gonna drop the Forge, and we'll take it from there. He's enjoying an 8-worker lead. I'm a little bit curious, by the way, where he's gonna take his 4th base, because the main reason why a lot of Protoss players hate post-youth is you're kind of forced to take the gold, or people always think that you should take the gold, but it's just so freaking hard then to deal with those drops in the back of your natural over and over again. But if you start splitting yourself thin, that 4th base is also so far away from the 3rd. If you do want to not take the gold and you want to take the one that's above your natural, it's kind of like pick your poison. It doesn't really feel like there is an ideal solution to it. And you can't really go all the way up to like 9 o'clock either. So very curious to see what herO will do. I think he's going to take the gold, but it does mean that defending this area right here that Mapu and Yao is showing us is going to be very difficult later on.
Just the merest glimpse of the medevacs that herO did see it and responds pretty well. The Colossus definitely necessary. Raven could be saved. It is not. That goes down. Some Stalkers are sacrificed for the greater good as well, but this will be cleaned up. 6 probes in total killed. Another unit lost. Feels super great for Maru. Yeah, 5 Stalkers in total lost. You can see the resources overall favoring herO there. Nice on that pylon positioning. The scouting pylon is really nice.
Yeah, herO is the kind of
probe. Good job, probe.
herO is the kind of guy that will make some move outs at certain moments where you're like, this doesn't really seem like the moment to move out, mate. You've got like a Forge, you've got +1 spinning, there's a 2nd Forge on the way, you've got a couple of gateways, you're investing in a 4th Nexus as well. Is this really the moment? What maybe could we think about is walking the Colossus into the main base, as these Stalkers are going to blink into the main as well. They're going to gun down at eBay. Unfortunately for herO, it is the one with +1 armor.
Do it, put the Colossus up there. He's not going to do it. Yeah, that's the +1 armor gone, which is, you know, you cringe less at that, but this is a good harassment. I really like the counter push though. Like, I agree it's a weird time to push out, but Maru did just lose 2 medevacs, so you're not thinking they're going to have Vikings to deal with your Colossus, and if your Colossus can abuse a choke, then you get a contain going. I don't believe he can break this, because Widow Mines, Marauders, the tanks especially are kind of covering that lack of Vikings to a degree, but herO, he wants to give himself the options of aggressing, right? Because he is expanding, he is getting double Forge upgrades, but he's also getting a bunch of proxy gateways, which I really, really love. I love seeing that come back in. Zest, you do it like on either side of the map too. So I love that he's giving himself some options, really making Maru feel quite scared, but you know, Maru can be okay on 3 bases for a while. Obviously, eventually he wants to also reach out, although Maru is one of the best late game, so maybe he is comfortable with this.
I'm going to be that guy. Even the turret is very annoying, because if the Colossus really want to get their perfect shots up on Marines, they have to step a bit too far forward, and missile turrets will attack Colossus and have crazy DPS. And it's also very nice as Protoss to have an observer kind of like at least near the Terran army, so you know what you're stepping into. I really love that turret by Maru. These are like the simple things, doesn't really cost him anything, but it just makes it a little harder for even a man like herO to figure out, is this where I should be or not?
Yeah, not to mention Colossus tend to shoot at buildings.
Oh yeah, they're very good at that.
Yes.
Depots, refineries especially. I don't know what the refinery has ever done to the Colossus, but the Colossus have it out for them.
Yep, we do have the Colossus stuck. Okay, this does not work on this map, FYI. Or he's hold positioning them. If he is, you're going to have to move them. Vikings are out, so the Stalkers go after them. 3 Vikings traded out. Oh, for a few more Stalkers than he was hoping for, but still cutting that number down.
As much as these fights are a little bit awkward, what I do always love about herO is that he's okay with keeping the army supplies a tiny bit smaller. You don't want to just let Maru max out on 2-2 bio with a whole bunch of tanks, Vikings, EMPs raining over your army. I think these non-stop trades are good, especially because herO is starting to take the entire map. A crazy forward blink into a couple of tanks and Widow Mines. I mean, that was expensive, but herO is expanding like a mad lad. And maybe his idea once more is just keep the armies tiny. As long as the armies are tiny, that's where the Blink Stalkers can shine. Maybe that's where the Colossus can get the good shots up. Or 1 Nova could be game ending. Because we look at the minimap, I mean, herO basically went from 3 all the way up to 5 bases. And yeah, it looks reckless what he's doing, but that's what he loves to do. And I do understand the game plan.
Yeah, I love it. I love these gateways coming down, all the pylons too. It's going to be scouting. It's going to hang up a little bit of the Terran army if they get a counterattack going. It's going to provide the run-by access as well. You don't have those war prisms, but you do have the gateways. still a pretty much insane blinking. I really feel like most of us are agreeing on that. But herO could afford it, and actually it kind of traded out, not evenly, but he was ahead in supply, so he still is by 20.
I didn't hate it. Obviously, it was crazy that he lost so many Stalkers at once. Big explosions, Widowmine tanks. Yeah, that's gonna shred through Stalkers real quick, but he did get a couple of those key units as well, the Liberators, and that's gonna make it more and more doable for him to continue to be aggressive, as Maru desperately wants to get up to 4 bases right now. Widowmine fires, but only at a single Zealot. These Colossus, by the way, have been very healthy for a long time. Even though Maru has been building Vikings, herO finds another one, and picking up these starport units, whether it's Vikings or Liberators, over and over again, does really help him as well. And Maru decides that this is not the base to take. He's gonna go ahead instead try to take the other one.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan, but does he actually have time to do so? herO is looking to full send it. The tanks are gonna get destroyed by the Disruptors. Many of the Zealots injured, but alive. That was a good retreat, really from both parties. Yeah. Unfortunately, Maru couldn't retreat fast enough to have the pre-setup prior to herO's trigger pull.
Don't forget, by the way, that Maru lost that eBay when he was getting armor, so he's actually just working with +2 attack, and he doesn't have any armor upgrades on his bio units at all. I think he's trying to compensate for that with just more Widowmines, more tanks, and then losing that +1 armor for the bio units does not really matter. herO obviously is going to continue sending it. He knows that fighting before that base becomes a planetary is going to be a whole lot easier than fighting when it is a planetary. He's got a silly amount of gateway units. He's very close to getting +3 attack. Doesn't really seem like there's a great answer anymore for the Colossus. Like, the Viking count is non-existent, and the tanks, sure, they can sometimes get it done, but tanks can also be really derpy and just get swarmed by the Protoss units.
Exactly, especially Zealots, which is what is mostly herO is making. So on the cheaper side, there's just a billion of them. Disruptors trying to take out some of the Ghosts and Widowmines, not actually taking all of them out yet. So one more Widowmine after 2 already hit the heart of the Zealots, injuring them earlier on. Maru is trying his best to really turtle. I mean, usually we say that as they're getting maybe Liberator or something, but he is basically trying to turtle, getting the best units possible to cover all aspects of the Protoss army, which tanks, if they're protected by bio and Widowmines they do give you a lot of space.
Maru knows that that's pretty much the only thing that he can do. Moving out right now is silly. You look at the minimap, herO is going to see any move out that Maru could even think of. herO is going to see it before Maru loads up those units. As herO swings around, says, all right, you've got a planetary, that's nice and all, but maybe now I can strike that original 3rd base, and all the things were moved. So herO gets a very easy path into, fires a couple of Novas that have potential, goes for the guaranteed damage instead as he settles for that tank, and I don't hate that either. Gets the Ghost there as well. I mean, this does really feel like herO is bullying Maru, but it would also be incredibly silly and naive of us to think that Maru is never going to win a game like this, because he's done that time and time again, but herO says, not this time, I just want to go ahead and close it out as he gets another tank. And a Guardian Shield as well, still covering all these Zealots, and Maru will be forced to tap out. GG, herO takes the 2-1 lead, and yeah, a very herO-like game in the end.
Yeah, it was masterful control over the map and the flow of the game, I think. It really started with the 2 medevac drops, which were lackluster in general, but then you have 2 less medevacs that you're worrying about flying around, looking to harass you or to counterattack if you decide to move out on the map. You also literally just got rid of 2 of their starport units. So if they're trying to build up their Viking count, now they go, oh shoot, I gotta build more medevacs. So getting on the map, yeah, you don't push the issue, or most people wouldn't, he kind of did, but you don't push the issue, you don't have to. You're still controlling them, still scaring them, and then getting all that map behind it. herO was on 6 bases with everything scouted without observers. They were all proxy gates that were scouting any line of attack Maru could have chosen outside of this one.
That was a forward blink one more time, but you guys can see the Widowmines did go down, a couple of tanks went down, the Liberator got picked off, and yeah, herO knows what he's doing. As crazy as it looks like what he's doing, it does feel that he always has a plan. And sure, not every blink forward or every blink into the main base works out. I mean, that first ring around the Rosie in the main base where he lost 3 out of 4 Stalkers looks a little bit silly, but later on he does snipe the eBay. And he does reduce the starport unit count of Maru over and over again, and it really does start adding up. And then you look at the minimap, but it's so focused on these armies, you kind of sometimes forget to see, like, how are they macroing? herO's always taking bases, getting more warping locations up at the same time. And I'm sure he's doing a really good job when it comes to the probe transfers as well. So sure, he may only have 70 probes or so, but the base is always properly saturated. And that's why he's actually really rich. He's richer than you would give him credit for if you just look at the probe count.
Yeah. Well, this means that he is 1 point away from actually advancing on in the bottom side of Amphion. It is going to be the red Protoss for DKZ, herO.
herO is, of course, likely to make it to the Esports World Cup, but if he wins this series, he is guaranteed, as he will be a top 4 finisher here at the ESL Spring Championships in Dallas. This man is already confirmed, but of course he wants to have a great run here in America. He's had a couple, but he's never gone all the way. Can he turn the tide? Representing Vitality, this is Maru. Maru has that look on his face of here we go again. A Protoss player in NA. Think back of a BlizzCon with SOS back then, and herO has done it to him before as well. Something about these Protosses, whenever Maru goes to NA, they can't leave him alone.
I guess not, yeah. The probe scout finally happens, and that's been missing for a little while. And it is interesting because herO can also be the guy who always goes for an immediate probe scout for the harassment, and he just skipped him for a couple of games here. So changing it up even from the get-go, and also getting that crucial scouting in case Maru also changed up with a proxy. It's going to be a 1-Rax expand, and herO will see that.
These kind of scenarios, by the way, already scare me a little bit. I think this is a really good Stargate map, and even if a lot of Protoss players like to play Phoenix here, imagine you go for a quick Oracle. Look at the amount of work that this probe has already done on all these SCVs. There are like 6 to 7 SCVs that are now going to die a little bit quicker if there is an Oracle than they otherwise would. And this is something he really needs to keep in the back of his mind.
That's true. He's going to high ground expand. So he's going to play it very safe here. And herO is going to be denied scouting in that main base. Well, if he does go for Stargate, not for very much. We're waiting on that, really. We're waiting on herO's decision for his technology. Twilight Council, Stargate, pretty much never a robo first. But the other two, very much valid. Trying to check out who won whose map last time. And this actually, Alcyone was the final map of their best of 9. That was clutched out by Maru. Things could change here today, as herO does add on that Stargate.
Yep, and as much as herO likes to be a Phoenix boy in this day and age, we've already seen him build a couple of Phoenixes throughout the series. Side Delta was obviously not all-out Phoenix, was just one Phoenix. That could have still been very useful. Unfortunately, he lost it almost immediately. I'm pretty positive this is going to be an Oracle first. It just kind of screams for it. If your first probe is able to soften up that many SCVs, you love the idea of going an Oracle here. And just finding that moment where maybe Maru moves out, maybe the Cyclones are not in the right spot, Oracle can actually get a handful of workers here incredibly quick.
I feel like we're really building up this Oracle. I hope it delivers. Depth not going to be in there. It is an Oracle.
I mean, I'm a Phoenix boy, Zombie Grub. If I start talking about Oracles, there really is a reason for it.
And Maru has no idea this is going to be on the way. He might try and place a Cyclone in the direction of perceived Oracle, but maybe he gets distracted by something at the front, or it's just a little bit off. And you're absolutely right to point out that it's one less shot for a lot of those SCVs to be killed. Many of them going to be gone in the blink of an eye. The Cyclone does get dragged out of position, but not in the timing that works for the Oracle. The question is, will it stay here? Because all the units are rallying over there, man, right now. That open main base could be a huge problem. What is there for the Oracle defense?
Not a whole lot at the moment. It feels like Maru is just ready to move out. He had a tank on the way, and he just cancelled the tank. That tank was more than halfway done, and he cancelled the tank. He drops the mule. Oracle is waiting because herO doesn't see what we see. He didn't know that was an absolutely fantastic moment. What's happening here with Maru? He was building a siege tank, and he has decided to stop it when it was halfway done. I
guess he's... I don't know about the exact details, but he's definitely changing up how he's going to play, unless he goes back into tanks, and then I'm wrong. But perhaps going for that quicker starport.
2-1-1?
Yeah, to make it basically into a 2-1-1. A little more awkward than that, but yeah, that's what I'm boiling down to. Oracle still has not gone in, by the way, so that's not just for the SCVs that we've been talking up here, but also for just general scouting purposes. Finally.
Still has potential, by the way, because Maru still doesn't have a lot of units in position.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it does suck to do it a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it is going to happen. There we go. Yeah, the injured SCVs targeted up here. 3, 4 probably, and the Oracle can escape. Actually missing some of the last shots. Only 2.
It's not done yet.
It shouldn't be, but there we go, there we go.
Still has a lot of energy, and the Oracle still healthy. herO wants one more, gets one more on his way out. -4, and don't forget, a perfect scout. And probably a little bit confused about what he scouted there as well. Can't really blame it. In the end, he sees the 2-1-1 setup. He's like, oh, okay. And he fires up a Void Ray as the Cyclone gets the lock on here. That shouldn't be a kill, but it's a lot of damage. A Void Ray, Zombie Grub.
And an Immortal popped up as well. I mean, this is some eager anti-defense. I mean, I actually kind of like the Voider on this map. Obviously, you have that entire left side of the map that is blocked by the mineral patches via, from the ground forces attacking up, but it's very accessible by the air. Void Ray's waiting on the edge of herO's base. Medevac dies instantly. Oracle did live, so it's coming back in for even more damage, it looks like. It knows there's still a couple of weak SCVs. It's got plenty of energy, and Maru's units are not quite in position. It actually even causes a stim, which is going to affect the Medevac energy later. herO is getting every little bit here done. Up 10 workers at this point, now grabbing a third Nexus. Robotics Bay was done. Colossus not started up yet.
Nope, but he's going to be able to fire it up as soon as this Immortal comes out. I do kind of like the idea of getting an Immortal or two. It's always so good to just rally those Immortals forward and right-click down those tanks, because Marines alone are simply not going to kill herO as soon as he gets a single Colossus out, and I think he's very confident he's going to get it out. I'm starting to be incredibly concerned for Maru in this game. Like, he's only down 6 workers, but it kind of feels that his first move out is it. And if that doesn't work out, then unfortunately another event in North America is not going to work out for the man who just keeps on winning GSLs like it's nobody's business. It's got to sting a little, as the Oracle did get picked off there, by the way. herO dropped the Revelation right before it went down. Like, herO's army here is not fantastic. To be honest, neither is Maru's.
It's a little weird on both sides, for sure. And we do finally have Maru moving out. So he didn't go for any type of drop, didn't bother with it. He did go back into tanks, and he's going for a forward push. But you're right, like the Void Ray gets caught on the tank for a second, overcharges. Prismatically aligned, sorry. It bops it pretty freaking quick. That is if it gets the right angle. Hallucination is going to see the incoming attack, and herO's going to meet it halfway, hoping to barbecue up those Marines, and Combat Shield was not done. So that was, well, hopefully a better chance than it was. Voider is actually the one that got mostly injured.
Charge on the way. Doesn't really take a very long time. herO's got a lot of Stalkers. It's kind of funny because he obviously does not have Blink, but it's going to be so hard for Maru to go forward. And if herO can just force Maru to siege up very far away, the way he's been doing, like, what can Maru really accomplish here? Maru seems to realize as well that the answer is not a whole lot, as he's going to get more tanks, more Vikings. Of course, herO needs to be careful as well that he doesn't walk into those tanks when they are sieged up, but it's a bit of an awkward game, but I like it a whole lot more for herO because he's enjoying a 6th worker lead. He already gets a bunch of Colossus out. He's dropping the Templar Archives as well. The combination of Colossus, Zealots with Charge, and Archons. And now we got the Void Ray. We can just put it on patrol on the left side. I feel like Maru really is in a bit of trouble. This might actually be a game where Quick Storm, even though it seems that, yeah, maybe then herO's doing too many things at once, but I think I kind of like the idea of Quick Storm.
Yeah, I think I like it as well. I think putting a lot of your resources into high technology and upgrades and expanding, yeah, that's going to take away some of your unit count, but that Voider really does cover the left side quite well if you wanted to, and then maybe focusing just on this attack path is a little easier than wondering if Maru is attacking from 2 other locations. He once again sees the incoming attack, and this time he's not going to try and meet it halfway, retreating back as he also buys time for more upgrades. Currently even with both of them with an attack upgrade, but armor almost done for herO as he starts adding in a lot of Zealots too. Those Colossus can only stay on the front lines for so long. Viking numbers have increased. herO's going to Warp Prism to help Micro too, and that could come in really clutch.
Yep, for sure, because the Vikings do make Maru's army a whole lot better, but I think the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that herO can send a couple Zealots towards the north side of our screen, then those Zealots can get on top of these tanks. I'm surprised that herO doesn't want to use battery overcharge. He is going to use it in the end. Which battery is he going to go for? As that Void Ray is going to soak up a lot of the Viking shots, but it's obviously perfectly fine. As long as herO doesn't lose the Colossus immediately, he should be okay, but he does end up losing both Colossus.
Yeah, this actually is going to be it, I think. 50 supply lead for Maru as he lands the Vikings. Overcharge is going to have to try and make 6 units win against the entire Terran army. That fight was simply not it. He did not have any access to the tanks way behind the front army. And if he had some way of getting those charge lots back there, that could have been very different.
Or if he would have just used overcharge immediately, even if they weren't battling at that point, because the moment you have overcharge, Maru is obviously not going to get close there, and it felt that every second that would go by, it's more likely that herO's army gets stronger and stronger. Even towards the end, they had 1100 minerals in the bank, but Maru gets a pretty damn clutch victory here on Amphion. And a game that just felt a bit awkward and things totally weren't going his way. I don't think Maru was very happy with it either, but I do absolutely love that after that first Marine tank move out, Maru was smart enough to preserve all those units, and he realized, like, okay, I'm not gonna get it done here. His army is too powerful. I need to wait until I get a couple of Vikings. Those Vikings were here, and he obviously did a really good job in keeping them alive, but look at these batteries. I think herO probably thought that he had energy, and he just didn't have enough energy for overcharge.
Yeah, literally as we're speaking, he's finally get 50 energy, so that was incredibly awkward. Also got to highlight some of the micro of the Terran, of course. The tanks were blasting away on the preferred units, the Stalkers, and those Marines will pull back behind the Marauders. And then the Colossus do what they do best, target anything but the Marines. A couple Marauders came on the left side, totally distracted them. I think that was a really clunky game for both players, but it was one that kind of staying the course worked out better for Maru. Like, he had to change his mind. He took more damage to the Oracles than expected. He didn't get anything done to herO for most of that game. But staying the course and knowing that your big push is going to be a troublesome push to defend, because you're going to get on that high ground, you're going to get those tanks in that position, stayed the course and won out, so we go to a game 5.
Yep, still kind of sad that herO wasn't able to maybe keep that army at bay for a split second longer. Perhaps that's because the Viking count was high, because it did feel that he was seconds away from extra gateways coming online. Zealots flanking, we've seen that time and time again. herO is really good in those engagements as well. But instead, Maru fights off those NA demons and sends us into game 5. Alcyone. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming, playing a good series so far. Can he advance into the semi-finals and punch his ticket into the Esports World Cup? It's herO.
And in the bottom left, tying up the series 2-2, he is the blue Terran for Vitality, Maru.
Maru looked pretty unhappy a couple minutes into Alcyone. He was kind of making some funny faces, shaking his head a little. Didn't really feel that he was happy with how it was going either. But those are the best moments, and then suddenly find yourself in a game 5 where you're like, whew. Was down 1-2, wasn't totally satisfied with how things were going in game 4. And to then still see yourself start all over again one last time in game 5. That's got to put momentum a little bit in your corner, but I feel like herO is a man who doesn't really care about momentum. He has it, he loses it, he takes it back.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to herO.
Yeah, there's been no pattern between this best of 5 and best of 9 as far as the map wins, but I will say that this is a map that herO won. He did win Alcyone, so maybe some confidence gained from that as he is forced into a game 5 after a good game 4 start. Unfortunately, couldn't quite finish it off. Maru gets another chance to advance on and continue forward in an international tournament. A lot of eyes are on the Protoss here. So we take the natural base. Maru has gone for a 1-Rax expand into a factory. Nothing cheeky from either player.
It's funny how a lot of the other Korean Protosses are very fond of that quick transition into carriers, right? The triple Stargate, Fleet Beacon, fire up +1 air weapons before the first carrier is even out. And herO, I feel like I've never seen him do it. herO just loves his Zealots, his Stalkers, his Colossus. Disruptors as well. He likes it a whole lot more in this matchup than he does in PvP. That's not his strongest suit. Well, that's why we love herO, but it is cool to see even the same players of the same race that are obviously among the very best in the world have completely different playstyles in certain matchups.
I feel like Classic can be the best of both worlds, Stats and herO, because he does the fast carrier thing, but he can also be really aggressive and even straight up cheesy. But then you divide the Classic in two and you get the defensive Stats and the aggressive herO. And aggressive herO doesn't often get those carriers. Another Stargate opener, and we're going to put that in the natural too. That's actually where Maru is headed. There's a hop-up spot there. Blocked by a pylon.
Phoenixes this time around? I would love to see Phoenix. I feel too many Protoss players throughout history have tried Oracles. Like, last game was a good scenario for the Oracle because the SCVs were a bit better than Bruce, and I saw the potential there, and it's a good map. But I have seen too many Protoss players losing game 5 because their first Oracle flies into a Cyclone or a Midamine, and this is almost game over immediately. So please no Oracle, and it is a Phoenix for Hilo.
Oh, this Reaper not going to see that Stargates. It was almost a juke, but not going to know what the technology is from herO. Could be Twilight Council, could be a Forget on the way. You don't know. And if you don't know and you're going for a medevac drop, theoretically that medevac drop can go right into the waiting arms of the Phoenix. Yet again, going to scout first with the Phoenix, so he's going to know what Maru is up to, and ditto on Maru knowing with the Phoenix.
There might be a Widowmine burrowed somewhere.
We did hear it.
Okay, no, they got picked up. Yeah. So that's very good news for herO, and A, now he knows, and B, you can see that it's a triple mine drop. I think that's a little bit silly by Maru. Maybe it would have been better to only unload one Widowmine and pretend
sure.
this is it. Because now you reveal the fact that you've gone triple mine. herO's still not going to fly into it, no matter how many mines you burrow, if he has vision of where they are being burrowed.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been better for Maru to keep at least one of them inside of the medevac.
It's a good point, but I think it's very good that actually Maru was able to see the Phoenix at that time, because now we can use these Widowmines to be a little more defensive, Marines obviously, and not just potentially straight up lose the medevac. Maru's going to add on a Viking and a Cyclone. He got some attempts at the Shade Micro. It is very difficult to do.
I love that, because I was casting a game once at home, and I was like, yeah, this is actually kind of difficult. It's very easy to dodge targets it with my shield with Blink Stalkers, but with the Adept guys, it's kind of difficult. Skill is in my chat saying, Rotte, it's not difficult at all, just when it's like 25%. 2 days later, I cast Skillers, he tries to pull it off, loses the Adept to the Widowmine. I was like, oh!
Yeah, of course.
And even herO messes it up apparently every now and then, so it's okay. Like, it is doable, but especially in a high-pressure scenario like this one, offline event, I understand that it doesn't always work out, not even for a man like herO.
Yeah, it would have been really nice, though. Taking a couple of Widowmines out of the equation of the push would have been fantastic. herO realizing, of course, that he's being pushed, stopped harassing the SCVs, and is coming home with everything that he can. Shield battery prepared gives me a lot more faith in the defense. Ooh. Cyclone pickup, Widowmines will be not shooting. One did. One is not quite enough to kill a Phoenix. The Marines are gunning them down. They are gonna hold. I mean, where are the rest of the units here? An Immortal is about to pop out. The shield battery and the natural is going to be a big help as another Phoenix joins in.
Oh my goodness, these batteries are really saving herO here because that fight wasn't looking all that hot. There was a lot of battling, but not a lot of units falling on the side of Mara, but it's that backup initial battery that really saves herO there, and obviously the ability to drop battery overcharge. Now the Immortals in the mix. One Phoenix is very low in HP. I would love to see herO send that one back for a split second. That's exactly what he does. So herO keeps all 3 bases alive, keeps a couple of the Phoenixes alive as well, and he's still hunting down these Terran units. One final Stalker shot is good enough for the Viking. The Phoenix is really one that medevac zombie grab. He's not quite getting it. He might still get it. No, in the end, Maru saves it. But you gotta love this if you're herO. You save the Nexus, you save the Pylon, and he actually keeps quite a few of the Stargate units alive.
Oh man, Maru. I gotta assume that was a misclick, almost sending that back in. Oh, but I always feel, yeah, herO should be very, very happy. Maru is trying to save everything they possibly can to give him at least some harassment options later on. Like the Viking can go across and maybe get some probes, but he has been entirely set back on his bases. Now, this is just a very awkward scenario for the Terran. Interference Matrix on the way, something that I'm not really sure about.
So hit or miss, right? Like, I like to criticize this, but then it's Maru and he always keeps his Ravens alive and he drops the game-ending Interference Matrix because it does take a long time. We just saw that technically on Amphion for these Protoss armies to really start going, right? Before Phoenix into a Robo into whatever truly gets as powerful as regular Protoss armies. So yes, if you can disable the Colossus with these Ravens, you're absolutely flying. But it's also so risky because they truly are paper planes. Phoenixes deal double damage against Ravens because of the way that these attacks work. I often say, unless your name is Maru, you don't do this. Good thing his name is Maru. Yeah. Let's see if he can keep these Ravens alive.
Yeah, that is the trick. But again, like a lot of Korean Terrans seem to be, I don't know if it's okay with scenario, but he did invest into the second Raven as well, even far beyond the Phoenix knowledge he invested into the first one. So
he knows.
Yeah, it's maybe kind of a gamble, right? Because if he does get both Ravens with interference pitches on the Colossus, yeah, that's most of the Protoss power taken away, but it feels like an even better chance of having those Ravens die. I wonder if he's going to try and distract, obviously with a drop or with one of the Ravens, get those Phoenix out of position and then go for it, or if he really is going to have to be forced to play into a later stage because it's clearly an uncomfortable game for him.
And look at that. +1 air weapons, by the way, for herO. Alcyone does seem to be the ultimate carrier map for Lord knows whatever reasons, but the Koreans absolutely freaking love it here, and maybe even herO is willing to drop that fleet beacon and a couple of extra Stargates in the near future, as these Phoenixes are going to try to get maybe rid of some of their energy, but it is hard for them to find an opening. If there's nothing else happening, Maru is sitting at home with 60+ army supply. It is unlikely that these Phoenixes are going to be mega successful.
Once again, herO adding on those proxy gateways as opposed to, getting a harassing War Prism. He did have one last game that did not end up saving any of those Colossus, got shot down. Quicken a Storm and another Stargate, so a Fleet Beacon should be following that up. Once he has enough gas, seems to be the problem.
I would actually kind of love any Impulse Crystals, because his Phoenix count is a little bit higher than it is on some of the other Korean Protosses, and that could actually make the difference as well between your Phoenixes getting in range of that Raven and just one-shotting it right that easily. Maru is moving out, but herO has plenty of batteries, so even if these Matrixes land on the Colossus, Maru shouldn't just be able to step forward and win the game, right?
I don't think so. Storm is done, absolutely not. And Storm is about 80% done, guys. High Templars are ready. Maru's going to be able to see that, know that Storm... The thing is, for Terran, you don't know if Storm is ready or not, so you also can't pull the trigger here. And the Ravens are still waiting for that ideal scenario. Scan on the very intimidating Protoss army. Upgrades currently favorable to Maru, but pushing through all of that potential AoE. So darn difficult. I'm actually a little surprised that he... shotgun around as long as he can. good on him, but actually taking the fight, I don't think so.
No, I don't think he really wants to either. herO's very close to getting that +1 arrow weapons. Widow Mines, though, get a couple of very good shots of as an anti-armor missile goes down. Not sure if herO really had to take the fight the way he did there, but that final storm makes it okay. As one more Widow Mine shoots at a Colossus zombie grub. Not an interaction we see a whole lot there. Lands in the dead center of the Protoss army. herO's getting another Stargate, so it will be triple Stargate Fleet Beacon as he keeps on flying into Widow Mines. In the end, the storm is what made all of this okay for herO, as he's got a pylon right next to the 4th base of Maru. Alrighty then.
Yeah, the Widow Mines were almost going to make that a disaster for herO. If 2 had popped at once, that would have been a disaster on the High Templar. They would have all died, and then the Phoenix as well. One more did pop off, but kind of on the tail end. So Widow Mine's still going to be a bother. We do have herO taking control over the map, once again expanding and getting those proxy gateways up. But this time, he has a lot of resources sucked into the carrier transition.
But he is also on 82 work as the Ravens are a bit exposed here. We land a feedback on one of these Ravens. Double Interference Matrix has landed on 2 of these Colossus. Not a lot of energy left anymore for these High Templars. So these High Templars going to be forced to morph into Archons. herO could really use a big warp in right now. Just doesn't really seem to be able to get it. He's going to get a couple of extra Zealous Archons somewhere. 2 more Matrixes land. And herO in the end is going to try to recall out whatever the hell he can recall out the zombie grove. There's like 3 units. You said it. He spent so many resources. Triple carrier, +1 air weapons, all that stuff. And just on that moment, he takes a pretty bad fight. I think he's rich enough that he should be able to hold.
Well, he's a little less rich. 400 minerals down the drain there. It might have been a calculated, actually. Just a few extra seconds to ensure that Maru doesn't gun it for his 3rd. I can actually see that. Zealot's going to try and buy some time. As you said, he did have some minerals in the bank, right? And buying time is all he really needed to do, because not only can he replace the army he lost, but he's replacing it with that technology of the carriers, which Maru, I don't believe, is aware of. So he does have some Vikings, but he stopped building them. He's starting to prepare for that very late game, second starport, but not there yet. And I think herO already has a few carriers out with that +1.
Yep, never fight up +2 though, and it is important because the buy units of Maru already have +2 armor. And Marines with medevac support are actually really good in dealing with carriers if they out-upgrade them. Now, of course, the Marines have to worry about other stuff like the Colossus, maybe some flanking storms even. And I believe that herO snuck in a Disruptor or 2 there as well. But Maru, I think, is pretty confident in the very late game. He's throwing down a whole bunch of scans and he's saying like, all right, I took a great fight on my side of the map. Splitting up his army now a little bit as well, as he's going to try to knock herO back to 4 bases once more. He's in the center of the map where he gets a cancel on that gold. He's here where he gets a cancel on this 12 o'clock position. Perhaps 5 probes as well. And it's really funny how this game has just been turned on its head. herO looked so damn good, but he was so deep into Maru territory without an immediate way to reinforce. And with so much supply tied up in those Stargates, so many resources tied up, and then obviously not having enough storms anymore.
I think that was actually what really was it. He figured he'd have 2 storms to retreat with, and then he just ended up having nothing. So he had to reset. So, you know, he's not dead, but it does suck because he had that map control. He was doing his thing like he did in the last game that he won, taking over the map, and now he's been just pushed back to his corner where Maru is the one taking the map.
You see the production tab. Maru drops 14 missile turrets. He says, I've seen what happened to Clem. I've seen what happened to Oliveira in this tournament. You guys take somewhat alright fights and then a couple of carriers fly through the middle of all these Terran bases, get on top of the production. I was thinking about it earlier. It might actually be okay to just have a whole bunch of turrets, because turrets are excellent against interceptors. And Maru says, yeah, that's not going to happen to me. There's still obviously a tiny chance it could happen to him, but at least these missile turrets are going to buy him some time, as 4 High Templars are very exposed. herO did not want to morph them into Archons, losing all 4 of them. At least the Zealous is going to be able to go to town on a couple of these turrets. Planetary will keep the STV safe. It feels to me that herO is going to have one opportunity where he's going to have a lot of carriers, going to have a mothership, a couple of storms coming in, and if he wins that fight convincingly, I can see herO win the game. But if it's a bit of an even trade or it's a Maru win, then that's kind of it, right? And then it will be Maru advancing into the semifinals.
Yeah, certainly if the fight's a Maru win, that's probably going to be it. hero's going to be very, very careful. He already made one mistake being a little over-aggressive without the proper retreat in mind, and he cannot do that again as he tries to perfect his overall army. Maru finishes up his 3-3 on his bio, currently working on that +2 ship weapons as well. 6 Vikings, no 7 Vikings at a time, and of course he's been in the know of carriers for a while at this point, so also perfecting his army. Fusion core on the way too. Obviously for Flip Rage first, Maru is one of the few, I'd say, best Terrans in the world who does go into battle cruisers.
Yeah.
Very rarely, but this is kind of one of those games that could go that long, 25 minutes, we could see it.
There's definitely a chance. Could also just be for a couple of Liberators, right, with advanced ballistics. The Lips can also help out against the Interceptors. If you let them A-move once in a while, you get a very good shot off. The only thing that I think Maru needs to be careful of is that he doesn't go mega ham on the Vikings while still having this many STPs, because herO is adding extra gateways. And herO will always have the possibility to remax on like 22 Blink Stalkers with a couple of High Templars left behind. And if you're then stuck with 40 supply or 60 supply Vikings, as that is a really good purification Nova, and herO is just going to take this fight.
I don't think he actually saw that coming. Missile turrets being destroyed, and a lot of Vikings trying to be the backbone here, but not getting necessarily the kill shots on those carriers. Lots of AoE as well. We got to those Disruptors, a Colossus still in play, and the High Templars. And herO thinks that he's gotten a chance here. Mothership's going to go down. He is going to commit. This is what kind of got him in trouble last time. Maybe don't commit and have those storms for the retreat.
Would love to see herO always keep one unit at the Xel'Naga Watchtower, because Maru is going to have vision of his army with scans over and over again. herO needs something else. Observers are obviously going to get picked off. You can make an Oracle here and drop some Revelations non-stop, but I have the feeling that herO's not the biggest fan of that stuff. Maru, by the way, has nukes available as well, and I just saw a Ghost Cloak. He's going to land a couple snipes, but there's also a chance we get a couple of nukes. And I hope that herO is not going to pull a classic over here on Alcyone, because that is one that all still lives fresh in the mind of Protoss players.
Yeah, scan on the brand new base of herO. Might be Maru's next target, and herO is expanding to the left side as well. But not too many resources here for either player. Neither one's banked, because they are taking some engagements. Once again happening here. Disruptor catches a Ghost. Zealot's catching some of them as well. Another big battle with an anti-armor missile. Plenty of High Templars. Good lord. Hopefully they don't get EMP'd. That they are being split up there, and Maru is not able to really break through his own gold choke. It is an awkward situation for him.
I thought that was a very good fight for herO. He got on top of a bunch of Ghosts. The Zealots killed one. The Interceptors killed a couple. As Maru is still building 7 Vikings at a time. As long as Maru doesn't have any great armor upgrades on these Vikings, like the Interceptors with +2 and in the near future +3, by the way. herO's really been on top of that, as he does end up losing one of the carriers. The second one takes a lot of damage. Needs to be a little bit sharper there. These are the moments where the Vikings could potentially melt. One storm, one volley of the Stalkers, and then all these Interceptors with +3 air weapons. This is where it's incredibly scary for Maru.
Yeah.
If Maru can just survive a little while longer, he gets armor upgrades, he gets a few more, it's going to be incredibly difficult, as a nuke is potentially going to land in the bottom right side as well. There is a red dot, and I'm not sure if herO's seen it.
Oh, he did not see it. It is going to be on the edge of his army, thankfully, though. He will take out the Planetary. Maru not getting the nuke that would save the Planetary, but he does have extra command centers, so he'll be putting that back down, and that's going to be something that herO has to worry about, not just on the army, but also as harassment later down the road. That is 26 Vikings. That is so many, and I think you were just spot on. This is so much supply in the air and in economy that if herO could just get these 13 gateways working after a decent battle, he would overwhelm a lot of places.
He never got Blink, actually, so he's thinking about it, but he's like, wait, if I want to warp in Stalks in the late game, I better get some Blink. He does have Zealot charge, of course. He's going to get some air upgrades as well when it comes to the armor. I don't know if that really matters. It kind of feels when the Viking count is so freaking high, these carriers are going to get pretty much one-shotted, right? If 26 Vikings shoot, especially after EMPs land, I don't know, +1 or +2 armor is really going to make the difference, as that is -2 carriers almost immediately. It felt that herO was in a good spot in that bottom right, especially when a lot of the Vikings were better than bruised. Now he gave Maru some time to repair all these units. Does land a storm as it clips the majority of that Viking flower.
Yeah, there's a lot more storms where that came from, as long as they do not clump up and get EMP'd. And again, that is important for the retreat. Despite the number of Vikings, herO is still producing 3 carriers at a time and getting upgrades. And I wonder if that really is the best call.
I personally don't think it is. I think you're right, ZombieGrub. Would be better to actually get a few more gateways, as EMPs have landed on the High Templars, by the way. I really hope for herO that he's got a few more storms as he pulls those Novas back. The Colossus get obliterated. All the carriers get obliterated as well. Arkel's whole position get a shot off or two. The Vikings of Maru will land. This wasn't a fight. It was an absolute massacre.
Yeah, 60 supply difference, working on their way to 80 as well. herO has to evacuate this base and get some type of maxed out army, at least on the ground. The Vikings can't be dealt with. Get rid of those carriers, keep them away for now, and worry about the ground. I think I just heard a mothership pop, and I wonder if it's going to be that safe.
Well, maybe it can hide to the bottom side, and then we Havoc and Rico, and maybe force Maru to go somewhere. And then Punisher pops, and it gets one-shotted immediately. The carrier shows up, that one gets one-shotted, and Maru grabs another one right above this Nexus. I mean, those were the carriers that we were wondering about. Are they the right call or not? Safe to say they didn't have much of an impact. herO now finally going back to ground. I was wondering if when is it time to get a couple of extra robos. Like, Vikings are cool and all, but one Nova can actually do a devastating amount of damage. If herO can buy a little bit of time for himself, get a few more gates, get some value out of his second or maybe even a third robo, there is still a chance, but he needs more units than he currently does. 58 army supply is simply not enough.
Yeah, it is not, and the Disruptors aren't exactly hitting either. herO once again forced away from that gold base. He is once again down 60 supply as the Vikings land. Disruptor needs to get that shot. Not going to get it as they just simply lift. And now with the Liberators being included, it is not so simple to go back into the Gateway army. Before the Liberators were here, a big Gateway spell could have changed things up. Now Liberators helping out. Vikings landing with the wall. herO was so close to defeating Maru, but once again seems to be denied access to those semifinals thanks to the godly Terran.
A 4-3 lead turned into a 4-5 deficit in Stars War just a couple of weeks ago. And now herO up to 1, looking good in Game 4 and having his moments in Game 5 is once more not able to close it out. Maru is very likely to advance into the semifinals as herO is just broke. He's running out of steam. These are the moments where as the brothers play, he's just going to try to get a few more disruptors because you always believe that a magical Nova can turn things around, but 12 Zealots, 3 Stalkers, 4 Disruptors, it's simply not going to cut it. herO doesn't even have a single Observer. Don't forget there are Ghosts for days as well that have cloaking. This is going to be it, Zombie Grub. And Maru is looking good here in the ESL Spring Championships. He's already guaranteed of going to the Esports World Cup. One Nova does not go up, but Maru will advance into the semifinals. And that means that herO is going to have to work a little more in the future and hope that certain things don't play out in the worst possible way.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be paying attention to those points from now on. Another Nexus will fall. Disruptor's not going to get the shot. herO did take out a planetary, but it was costly. It doesn't matter as much to Maru as he has 5,000 minerals in the bank. And herO just couldn't really complete it with the carriers. Overexerting himself earlier on as well, and this is a bloodbath now. There is the official tap out as Maru successfully gets the 3-2 and advances to the semifinals.
Maru won in Xi'an. Maru